Hello and welcome to another Busy Webinar. This is Dave Meyer with BizzyWeb, welcoming you on this call today. We're going to talk about standout subject lines, how to get opened, get read, and get results with your email marketing. Some of this content is going to be really helpful as you look at other social media outreach as well. So this is more than about just social media or just about email marketing. So make sure that you're taking notes on this. This is great content. I'm super excited about this one. So hang on. Here we go. First, I am Dave Meyer with BizzyWeb. If you would like a copy of the events slide deck today, send me an email at dave@bizzyweb.com or send us a note at 612-4BizzyO. That's 612-424-9990. Also, you can ask questions live during the event by using the Google Hangout questions and answers tool, and that's going to be available by clicking on the following. You're going to go here, and I am going to click on this so that you can see it. But once you click on the event under number 1 attached right here, you'll see from this Google Plus link, you click on that and then it opens up a new window that looks a whole lot like this. This new window will have live and Q&A highlighted. So you go in here, and that's for the folks that are live right now. If you're not watching live, you can just ask us questions and answers by using this tool as well, but click on play on the video right here. And again, you go from number 1 under this Google Plus link that I've highlighted. You click on that, takes you to this page. If you click the play button, you may be asked to log in or enter an email address, but you'll be able to ask questions live during the event right here. I'm going to press pause there so you can see how this looks and how it works. There should be a green button down here. It's being slow for some reason right now, but when you click on the green Ask a Question button, let's see, I'm trying to ask that question, but you should be able to ask a question inside of here. Now, if you are having issues with asking a question, as it appears I am, you can also try just sending an email, again, to dave@bizzyweb.com, and I'll handle your questions right after this event. So again, that's how you get a hold of us. That's how you connect with us and ask us questions during the event. This is about you, so would love to have you connect with us any way it makes sense. All right, so that's the housekeeping. Our last bit of housekeeping, who is BizzyWeb? We are a digital marketing agency located in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And if you stop by our hive sometime just north of the city, you'll be able to stop in, check us out, ask us questions, connect with us any way you want. We, of course, do web designs using WordPress as our web design platform, as well as all sorts of digital marketing, including and especially email marketing, which is one of the reasons we're talking today, but also social media marketing, Google Ads, content writing. If you need it, we can help you with our Buzz Builders marketing products. That's it for the advertisement. Let's get into the content. At its core, marketing is really all about getting results. Let's kick off the session with what a simple definition or framework of what marketing is. You already know generally what marketing is, but when I say marketing, I mean something very specific, and it's important that we're on the same page. My definition of marketing has 3 parts. You define an audience, a group of people that you want to target. You reach out to them with a message that's specific to that audience, and you seek to elicit a physical and measurable response. A click, a reply, a call, purchase, referral. These are all actions that represent a decision made by a human being to react to your message. Keep this in mind as we talk about marketing and the campaigns and how we deliver those campaigns. You're doing these things because you want people, your customers, clients, donors, or supporters, to do something. What kind of results are we talking about? Well, now that you know the goal of marketing, think about subject lines as the gatekeepers of these next steps. You can get someone to open your email out of curiosity or because they're expecting something satisfying or informative. Getting that open will lead to what you are marketing to achieve. After a subscriber decides to read your email upon viewing the subject line, the calls to action lead these types of measurable actions. This is why you market your business or nonprofit, so that your readers do these things for you and you can generate revenue or donations for your organization. Because you're sending messages in hopes that the reader will take that next step, crafting your subject lines with these goals in mind will let those close to you get the responses from your subscribers so they can in turn respond to your message in the ways you want them to. Email is really hard to beat. People, including 91% of all US adults, say they like to receive promotional emails from companies they do business with. Now note that that's companies they do business with. The difference between spam and email marketing is often a lack of intention or purpose with the message and a lack of targeting the exact right people. 138% of folks spend more with an email offer than those who don't receive any email offers. So if you're trying to enhance or increase your budget or your spend, especially with existing clients that already know you, email marketing is the way to do it. Subject lines can help you in a number of ways. We want to bring to light how crucial subject lines are to making sure that your emails bring you more business and generate more revenue or awareness wherever people are viewing your email, whether that's on a computer, tablet, or mobile phone. There's an art and a science to crafting compelling subject lines that inspire easy action, intended to generate more business or awareness for you, and it's not as hard as it may seem. With a few tips and tricks and some practice on measuring, you'll be able to craft more compelling and interesting subject lines for your emails. As a small business, you don't have times to do things that don't work. So when it comes to your subject lines, get into the habit of optimizing those subject lines to get the best results possible for your marketing effort. Approximately 1/3 of people decide to open an email based solely on the subject line. When that subject line stands out, and when you're reading it on a desktop or a smartphone, there's a lot of competition for our attention. In today's webinar, we're going to show some tricks of the trade to start using on your email campaigns. After a few of these campaigns are implemented, you'll be a pro at getting real measurable results for your marketing. A smartphone is your mobile inbox. These days, a phone is more like a mobile inbox than a phone. You got to consider the impact of mobile readership on your message. In fact, 53% of emails are opened on mobile devices, and the average person looks at their phone approximately 150 times a day. Your email could be one of those messages they're checking, and we want to make sure that your message stands out in that crowded inbox on an itty-bitty tiny screen. It's not that all devices are created equal either. They all display emails differently, but there are a few things you can do to anticipate that and optimize your subject lines for best display across all devices. We're going to show you the few things that you can do to drive home your message, mostly through good subject lines. First, we're going to talk through why subject lines are so important. We'll look at why subject lines help your small businesses or nonprofit get the results that you need. We're going to talk about how to write good subject lines, some techniques that you can use to improve starting today, and some methods to help get those creative juices flowing when you're crafting your next subject line. Write subject lines for desktop and mobile. We'll look at how smartphones are changing the way email is read and how you can optimize your subject line by leveraging pre-header text to further pull readers in to your email when they're reviewing your message on a mobile phone. And finally, we'll send you out the door armed with confidence and fresh tips to use in your emails. I'm going to step aside and just make sure that everything's going well for us. If you do have an idea or an issue with your website, you can, or with your post, be sure to send me an email at dave@BizzyWeb.com and we'll take care of you. But would love to have you keep connecting up and ask those questions. So as things get rolling, let's keep it going forward. All right, so first, why are subject lines so important? An email isn't opened and it isn't effective in helping you reach your marketing goals. So now I want to talk about 3 words that you need to keep in mind as you go about crafting better subject lines. Those words are now, later, or never. Think about this morning when you checked your email. Whether you were aware of it or not, You were sorting your messages into these three categories automatically. But it's important to know that you need both the recipient and as a sender to know what these three words do. How do you make sure that you are a now? You don't want to be a never, obviously. And later is really a well-intentioned never, right? If you flag it and tell yourself, oh, I'll come back to it, you probably never do. So you want to focus on the now. The three reasons people would open your email is if they recognize the sender, the from name. Make sure you identify yourself as a brand so that your emails are easily recognizable. In fact, according to a study conducted by Constant Contact in 2012, 64% of recipients reported that the organization who sent the message was a major reason for opening the organization's email. Next, the time they received a given message is important. You want to make sure reading your message is convenient at the time so that they'll pay attention to when your recipients are opening your emails and send consistently at that correct time. And finally, was your message worth reading? Does the subject line compel them to click on your message and read more about it? Here's a simple method for writing more powerful subject lines. We call it the 2-2-2 principle. The first 2 is for 2 seconds you typically have to compel someone to pay attention. The second 2 is for the first 2 words of your subject line or headline. That's really all they read before making a decision on whether they're going to read your message. Not a decision about whether to read, but as whether they were even going to bother to read the rest of the next subject line. Consider how you're reading emails these days, especially on your phone. If a subject line's too long, part of your message is cut off on your smartphone screen size. So test that when you're crafting your subject lines, and you'll have a better chance of grabbing the attention you need today, which is the third item. What does a message or email matter today to someone is the third 2. If you can answer that question in your subject line or headline, or as close to the first 2 words as possible, more people will stop and at least open your message. So why should they open? First, subject lines must fulfill a purpose, and they need to entice your readers. Remember the 2-2-2 principle we just talked about. 2 seconds, 2 words, and today. Does your message clearly answer the question of why someone would open your email before all others in their inbox? Make sure your message clearly identifies the email's purpose. You can get creative and clever about how you craft it, but as long as you're alluding to an element of your email's content, the more creative your subject line is, the more it will stand out among the rest in a subscriber's inbox, and a natural curiosity will capture their attention in making them wonder what else is in store. Write your subject lines after you have written and designed your next email campaign. You'll have a much better grasp after the point about what the end goal is or the purpose of your email. So ideas will roll off your tongue, but experiment with what works best for your creative process. Your goal is to pull people in to your email. You can highlight relevance, usefulness, value, or educational value at the opening of your message to catch their attention, or switch it up and do something unexpected, non-traditional, or unusual. Match your message tone to reflect your brand. If your brand is informative, sassy, funny, quirky, buzzworthy, as BizzyWeb might be, incorporate the element of your brand's personality into your subject lines in a few words. If you've been a fan of BizzyWeb for more than a while, you'll notice that we work a lot of B-related content into our headlines. That keeps people informed, engaged, and people generally know BizzyWeb as that B company anyway, so it works really well to keep us recognized. You can use pre-header text or teaser text as the hook for a second chance to draw your subscribers into your email after they've considered the subject line. Because this space allows for slightly more words, this is where you'll want to take your subject line a bit further by explaining or elaborating on the subject line. Remember, this is seen specifically on a mobile device right below the subject line, even if it is made invisible to desktop viewers. We'll talk more about this shortly. Make sure you're not doing things we've found spammers doing in their emails. These are things that will likely get your emails sent into your readers' trash folders or not seen at all. Don't use these typical spammy words. Spam filters are trained to block if they catch them in subject lines, but here are some examples of words not to use. Don't use the word free, act now, lose weight, money, fast, guaranteed, advertisement. Don't use all caps, and don't use excessive punctuation or symbols like the pound sign or a bunch of exclamation points or percentage symbols. Have a look at your own junk mail folder, and that'll give you a good idea of what not to do. Right, so we've talked about why subject lines are important. Now let's talk a little bit about how to write one. I'm just going to jump over into my Q&A, see that we're fine here. We've got a lot of folks on, so if you do have questions, this is your time to do so. You can either send them to dave@BizzyWeb.com or use the Q&A tool to ask those questions. Let's keep rolling and talk about how to write a good subject line. All right, so a good subject line can absolutely make or break an email. If it doesn't positively interrupt one's flow when perusing your inbox, your message is not going to fall into that read now bucket. If you fall into the well-intentioned later or never category, it's going to be deleted and it's not going to happen. If people are swiping and deleting your message, it's not helping. You might have a beautifully designed template with all the right stuff in it, but with a boring subject line, that message isn't going to be opened. Your subject line can produce measurable responses as such measurable responses as new or more sales, drive attendance, helping with fundraising, and doing subscriber participation. It's the difference between March newsletter and a standout subject line that drives content. And here's what one of those would be. Standout subject lines attract attention, period. They move someone to click on your message or view its entirety and engage with your call to action. Some techniques, short and sweet. 4 to 7 words is an ideal span to grasp and react on mobile or desktop. They want you to offer information that is hard to click away from in a split second. They're willing to be distracted for a moment, but it better be worth it. Attractive offers will allow discounts or special offers that they feel exclusive or valuable. Offer something that's sustainable to your business to realistically support or honor, and tell your subscribers why that offer is great. They want it to look clean on smartphone screens, so there's no need to scroll side to side, pinch and unpitch, or swipe around. Thinking about mobile first is the smartest way to make sure that it's going to get read on at least 50% of people's email inboxes. Brand identity, try to incorporate your brand name in the subject line without sounding too salesy. Try to use your brand as a play on words, or if your organization has a rich following or community, use inside jokes or terms. Get creative with branding to incorporate your brand in the subject line in helpful and interesting ways. Questions pique curiosity and have the power to make one think introspectively. When they're thinking about their own lives, you can get them to open your email in hopes of attaining a level of self-improvement or to deliver something. Then rinse, wash, and repeat. Urgency or scarcity tactics can grab a reader's attention for fear of missing out. No one likes to miss out on something they later find out they really wanted or cared about, so try using this with your next subject line. An example might be, I got an email the other day for something I'd been looking at, but I didn't open it soon enough and the offer had expired and I was upset for missing out. But I'd completely bypassed the subject line because it didn't seem urgent or like the offer was going to expire. If you tell them open now or 5 minutes till close, that's a good way to get people up. Creating urgency and building that scarcity can really drive people forward. But you also need to entertain, warn, and inform. So get people the knowledge that they're looking for. Use humor to inspire laughter, contain and drive helpful content. Funny subject lines can open a lot of doors, or emails in this case, and warning your audience of something can gently alarm them or compel them to do something about your message. And finally, literary techniques. Writing like a pro can really help with eye-catching headlines. Think about using allusion, alliteration, onomatopoeia in your subject lines because they work for authors and advertisers, and it's an absolutely easy way to get you to the next step. Top lists are also really easy ways to drive people in. People like the top 5 ways that you can drive things, or 10 things you need to know. You can browse anything at BuzzFeed or any of the other common social media areas to get an idea for the headlines that work. Use some of that learning, but don't tip over into being too spammy. The top appeal can really be a good way to drive more opens. A lot of people are turning to lists that have top ranking items. Readers are willing to be distracted for a moment. They pull you in immediately, even if you know you shouldn't be reading about the 25 worst dressed celebrities at the Oscars. If you have 3 tips promised followed by the promise of a list in a subject line, people are more tempted to read something that makes them think or learn, but don't take as much time to read a subject line that reads June newsletter. People are time starved. They think only 3 tips or top 10 reasons. I can remember that many things. After you write your email, think about the overall time running through it and pull together a list. What do they all have in common? Order it into a list with common themes and use that number and a theme to draw people into opening your message. Might be 5 reasons to wear sunscreen this summer, 3 deadliest pests, or 6 places to avoid. Remember, you want to appeal to that question of why, and specifically, why should I open this message? As long as it provides a benefit or a pleasant distraction to the reader in the subject line, they're more apt to open and read the rest of the message. Let's explore some of the ways you could brainstorm better subject lines using some of the techniques we've talked about so far. First, click the top appeal, a quick list of easily digestible pieces of information. 7 must-haves for fall, 3 end-of-year tax tips, the top 10 beauty products for this year. Or create a sense of urgency to drive action. Only 1 day left, limited time offer, don't miss out, only 12 seats left, get your ticket before today. Ask a question, personalize that, and get people to connect up. What people need to know about your personal finances, how you can help your business grow. Do you feel prepared? Ask those other questions by being personable, getting things together, and helping people reach out. Doing exclusive appeals with exclusive offers and making sure those exclusive offers truly are exclusive to your email can help people get going. Something like Only Crafters would understand this feeling. We have a special coupon just for our email subscribers, and things to keep people in the know, but keep them from missing out. 13 signs you're budgeting wrong. You won't believe your eyes when you see this. If you aren't doing this every day, you're doing it wrong. Again, be careful not to cross over into the spam chasm, and you'll know what feels good to you. In general, however, marketing messages, if you're used to writing for regular people and doing regular business writing, marketing messaging is going to feel a little bit hokey. You want to amp your personality up to 11 when you're writing subject lines. Literary techniques like onomatopoeia, allusions, we're bringing the crafty back, alliteration, 7 simple ways to solution savings, chunking, lions, tigers, and the Springfield Bears, oh my, and numbers, 13 ways you're killing your credit score, are all incredibly helpful. So you can try adapting your subject line to using these literary techniques. So June promotion, onomatopoeia, splish splash, show the places we've slashed. Cha-ching, send sort of a message. Joe's Pet Store Newsletters Illusions, Who Let the Dogs Out? Pet Shots this Saturday. Fido's got 99 problems, but fleas ain't one. Refer to something in popular culture to get people's attention. Alliteration, make mom's morning miraculous. Cards, candy, and 1 cozy couch. Easy stuff helps stand out from the rest of the crowd. Chunking, Summer Camp 2016, new, archery, fencing, and sailing. That's the chunk. Kids love it. Parents dream about it. Registration is open. 3 things in simple succession can grab people's attention. And finally, with numbers, 3 can't miss summer festivals, or 16 bands, but only 1 Miranda Lambert. So what would you change with these headlines? Our monthly tax newsletter. You can almost fall asleep reading that, right? How about 3 overlooked tax deductions you may qualify for? New product arrival. Sweet dreams are made of cheese. Get a free Apple Watch. Apple Watch. Want one? Easy, stands out a little bit more. And note with that capital free, that's probably teasing out the spam filters, and that message isn't going to get found at all. To find inspiration, you can try a bunch of things, including checking the news, magazine headlines. I already talked about BuzzFeed and other content. Connect up with what people are doing. Search results, headlines, try searching for your topic or your solution. Try looking at what your competitors are doing. Check out blog titles. If you're looking for a great list of blogs, you can go to Alltop, ALLTOP, for more information. They have blogs, all the top blogs in almost everything under the sun. You can look on tweets on Twitter with lots of engagement. That will generally and by and large be the tweets that are trending, so you can see what's happening there. Be careful when you do that, however, so that you don't try to catch lightning in a bottle and grab onto the wrong kind of content. Retailers have gotten in trouble in the past by trying to lock into social things or making commentary. So there's all kinds of stuff that you can do, but it's very dangerous if you're not careful. Make sure that any hashtag that you use, you've researched thoroughly before you take advantage of it. Listicles that make you curiously click their headlines, BuzzFeed, Upworthy, Mashable are all great examples of that kind of content. Of the three, I think the one that does it best as far as a balance of real content without being overly spammy is probably Mashable. BuzzFeed is probably the most spammy of all of those. And so if you can find a happy medium between what BuzzFeed does and maybe what Mashable shares, that's a great bit of content and a great way to kind of guide your headlines. And again, your subject lines and article headlines in any of these things are by and large the same. Their goal is to get people to click. You want to get them to take the next step. And for some reason, this slide is on here twice now. So let's go next to considering desktop and mobile. I want to stop for a second, make sure that we don't have any questions. If you do have those questions, make sure that you're connecting up with us. I don't see any on here, and it looks like in email, I'm not seeing anyone that sent a note. Again, if you have questions, I'm searching in email and on Google+. So if you have a question, you can use the Q&A tool, or you can also send a note to dave@BizzyWeb.com. All right, considering desktop and mobile, desktop, of course, we all know about, but for mobile, it's really becoming the way people connect. 76% of people read email on their phones, and by far the most installed application on mobile devices is the email app. 67% of business-to-business workers view emails on their phones, and 64% of key decision makers read emails on mobile devices. This is now where business is done. For mobile design best practices, you need to think of things a little bit differently. First, imagine that you're spending some time and you want to make sure that it looks perfect on that device. You want to make sure that you pay attention to these basic tenets. First, use a mobile-friendly or single-column template. If you've been using email marketing for a while, you may have an older template that was designed almost like a newspaper. Those multiple-column templates make it very hard for mobile devices to read content. Make sure that you look at the single-column template because it shows up much like you see on the screen here. It looks good, it shows up, and the content is right there. As far as individual design elements, your logo should be to the left or the center and always hyperlinked to your website. That makes sure that it's visible and easy to catch. If you have a logo that's right aligned, it might not show up on your screen at all, or it might cut off halfway into the screen. Brand colors are also important, and it's very easy to set up a design template inside of Constant Contact, but also any decent email marketing tool. And then make sure that it's readable with minimum 12-point font for body text and 22 points for calls to action. It's easy for us to get caught up in, especially for the massive screens that some of us have now, to think that smaller text is okay. Think about what you're looking at when people are holding their devices, their 4-inch at worst case screens at arm's length. It needs to be visible. So as we scroll in on these, you can see what that pre-header text is, and that's the stuff that shows up inside of your message. So keeping you informed on what's new this cycling season is very helpful. Let me go into a little bit more on this preview pane thing. First, it's a way to read email on desktop. It displays a snippet of your email and it displays the top half of your email. But on pre-header for the first line on mobile, it's the text above the logo and best seen on mobile devices. So let me show you what that looks like. On mobile devices, this is that little zoom in spot. And let me zoom in on this here. It's start building trust with your email subscribers. And in the subject line on the right, where it's even more important, it says start building trust with your email subscribers right underneath that subject line. It's almost like a meta description in Google search results. It gives that little bit of extra context to help you grow your business. I have a person that I subscribe to emails that's a former client of ours, but they haven't done email marketing with us yet. Every email that they send out has, this is a great place to add additional content listed in every email that they send out. It's for an electrician company. They've never figured out how to change it. I've asked them a couple times to change it, but it just doesn't work. So make sure that you take that time and preview your own message to look at it. The preview pane on your desktop displays a snippet of your email and it displays probably the top half. So that's why you want to keep that content right up top. And the subject line also will show up inside of here, and that's where that snippet text will show. Building that on top will help you be as browsable as possible. So in general, here's what you need to know when you're formatting your messages. When you're thinking about subject lines, keep it clear. Use the clever tips that we've talked about before, but also keep it short. For the main message or the main content of your pre-header text, for sure, 30 to 40 characters max will typically appear on most mobile devices. If you need a rule of thumb, 6 to 11 words will fit best, and 4 to 7 words has statistically the greatest response. And that's from Constant Contact, looking at hundreds of thousands of messages. Customize those first 11 to 18 words. The 140 characters are about a tweet worth of pre-header. And remember that 53%, more than half of email, is opened on mobile devices. Think about that content, and that pre-header text in particular is a killer tip to make sure that your messages are seen and delivered appropriately. So now that we've covered all that, let's talk about what you can do next. First, we've thrown a lot of information at you today, and before we wrap up, there's one last thing that I hope you take with you after the webinar. It's important that you understand how to measure your progress as you learn to perfect the art of compelling subject lines and open rates steadily improve. To do this effectively, you want to make sure that you stay organized with your campaigns so that you can access your progress with just a glance at your analytics. When you create an email campaign, you want to make sure to label it according to what the email is about. So in the future, when you want to look back at something you've done, you don't have to try to guess about what the email was about if the title was given, or if the title given was just the file name. You can do this very easily in Constant Contact. Your subject line of your message does not have to be the campaign name. If you're using Constant Contact, the first image points to the generic default file name that every draft email you create in Constant Contact is given if you don't label it. Imagine looking back on a year's worth of monthly newsletters and announcements that you sent out over the course of the year and seeing slight variations of this over and over. It's a nightmare if you're trying to reference or measure anything. This headache can be time-consuming to tackle, and you don't want to just take measuring performance lightly. That's why we suggest naming every email campaign the same as your subject line, maybe with a little extra content to boot, especially if your subject line is very artsy or cutesy or creative, make sure that you're reminding yourself in the future what that message was and what the point was. In this example, we've shown you how to match your file name to the final subject line, and you'll see why this becomes important now. After you start to put into practice these tips and tricks, you'll see that you want to check your progress over time to see what's working. Because you've kept a clean record of your sent campaigns by using identical file names as your subject lines with a little bit more besides, you'll be able to see with a glance at your analytics page which subject lines performed the best and which returned higher open rates. This will help you to get a better understanding of what techniques your audience responds to and what they don't over time, making you a pro at reading your audience's wants and needs and tailoring your marketing to continue to appeal to them. There's 4 simple steps that you can take to keep building better results. First, brainstorm at least 3 versions of every subject line. Get into the habit of brainstorming those multiple versions. First, write and design your email, and then get with a friend, coworker, partner, or spouse, and have fun brainstorming standout subject lines. After a few times, this is going to become second nature, and you'll enjoy increased open rates, or maybe a coffee or beer with friends while you think about those best subject lines. Always test on mobile devices before sending. Always, always test your email in as many email accounts and devices as you can. Android, iPhone, Windows, phones, tablets, PCs, Macs, and then sign up for some free accounts to see how AOL, Yahoo, Hotmail, and Outlook display your subject lines and your message. Don't spend all of the time designing a great email and crafting a compelling subject line for a popular email client to just crunch it or truncate it at a crucial word. Take the time, think about how it's going to be displayed, and take the right next step. And then finally, monitor your progress. Make sure that you're labeling your drafts the same way you label your subject lines to be able to keep track of the progress of your new and improved subject lines over time. Most email providers will have good analytics tools, so keep good records of your drafts because you'll need to use them to evaluate what is and what isn't working every month. That's all we have for today, and I want to get in with one last thing. If you don't already have Constant Contact, be sure to sign up with BizzyWeb at BizzyWeb.com/cc. There's 2 things that you need to know about this. First, if you go there and click on BizzyWeb.com/cc and follow the link to register, you can do a 60-day free trial. And that 60-day free trial, it does not require you to enter in a credit card or anything. And as soon as you decide that you want to sign up and start paying for the service, you can get a free custom template, which is a $199 value, by signing up through BizzyWeb. We are what's called authorized local experts, and we are master certified with Constant Contact. But as ALEs, we get this special deal. Constant Contact will actually build your custom template for you to be fully mobile responsive and to look great on any device. They'll take the content of your website and the look and feel of your branding and build it into your site. If you're looking at Constant Contact, it's not very expensive at all. Plans for just email start at $20 a month, and there is always a 100% money-back guarantee. If you want to learn more about any of the things we've talked about today, and specifically if you want to keep in touch with us, be sure to check out BizzyWeb.com/events, and don't forget about that free trial. If you want information on open rates, other content, videos, infographics, and other recorded webinars, you can go to the blog's ConstantContact.com library and find out more. And specifically, if you want to keep up with what we're doing, you can send a text for Bizzy to 22828 to register for our emails to keep up with all of our Bizzy events, including our weekly Bizzy webinars and any helpful content or topics that we find during the month. We send reminders every week on our Bizzy webinars, and then we also have a single monthly update that we put out that has tips, tricks, and details on how you can better improve your email marketing and your digital marketing period. These are not spammy. These are helpful and useful tools, and you're welcome to unsubscribe at any time. We don't sell or share any of your content. Go ahead and text Bizzy to 22828 to keep in the loop. Thank you very much for your time and attention today. Again, if you would like the deck from today, send me a note at dave@BizzyWeb.com, or you can call us at 612-4BizzyO, 612-424-9990. One last thing I'll remind you of, if you would like to take a look at your search engine optimization and how well your website is doing on search engines, go to our free Buzz Report tool at BizzyWeb.com/buzz. This is an example of what that looks like. You just click on I'd like a free Buzz Report. You enter in your web address, a keyword that you'd like to be found for, your name and your email, click scan, and we will give you within 45 seconds a 10-page report, including a handy checklist of how to improve your results on search engines. Again, I am Dave Meyer with BizzyWeb. Thank you very much for joining us today. Join us next week for more Constant Contact goodness. We're going to talk about another way to improve the open rates on your emails. And so would love to see you then. Again, I'm Dave Meyer with BizzyWeb. Thank you so very much for joining us. And remember, at BizzyWeb, we help you generate buzz without getting stung. Have a great week.